If we get a safety car on this lap forward, we're boxing.
That says to me you've been sabotaging him. Oscar Piastri is back. McLaren are still now. Lando is still going to win this championship, which is mighty depressing. Although Max is back. Max is back. There's a lot to discuss. Yeah, Super Max is back. A lot to discuss from the QATAR GP because, honestly, I was ready to throw something at the TV.
Mate, totally, utterly agree. I messaged you first thing when I was watching it on Monday morning, and I'm like, I'm so angry. I'll save you the bleep. I'm so angry because you just can't be any dumber when they come to serve you the perfect strategy of this fits in with all our models, all of our calculations, safety car on the exact lap that gets you right to the, here it is served to you, McLaren. What the fuck did you do? You didn't pit.
I'm just looking for an article.
Yes.
I think I've missed something. When did Ferrari strategists move to McLaren?
Well, people have been talking about that Stella, he did come from Ferrari.
This
whole thing does have this feel of, right, let's just screw over our drivers with the worst possible strategy ever. Especially when your boy Piastri finds the form that he needs to, somehow magically just gels with the car yet again, and then you don't pit. Why? It gives us flexibility, Steve. Flexibility.
It didn't give me flexibility in the pants. It made me flaccid. Somebody asked him about that. They're like, "Oh, what flexibility did it give you?" He's like, "Oh, well, he had the chance to go onto the softs if we wanted."
Yeah,
that's not flexibility, mate. That's just shit.
And then, like, they could have put them a little bit later and gone onto the softs, but then they're too scared of them breaking down, so they didn't do it anyway. So it's not flexibility if you don't take that chance anyway.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You know what it reminded me of? Can I tell you what it reminded me of? Do you remember all those years ago back at Hungary when Lewis Hamilton was the only one to turn up to start the race on the front row? And everyone else pitted and changed tires? Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. But I guess in that instance, like, you're leading, you really, like, poor Hamilton in that point really didn't have a choice because if he pitted and others stayed out, it was going to be the world of pain. But because everybody else pitted,
Munted. Yeah, look, McLaren completely screwed this up. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the best part of this weekend, and that was the resurgence of Oscar Piastri.
Yeah.
He was back, baby. Pole positions, sprint race win, should have been a race win. I did everything right and still managed to cop it in the ass without lube.
Yeah, like a sensational weekend. And as I mentioned, somehow just like had a look in his driver's bag and like just,
I can drive again.
Found it. I'm back. I remembered. And was outstanding. Like just legitimately just felt like the old Oscar of, 5-6 races ago. You know, especially when Lando just seems to be having these little mistakes creep in. Feeling the pressure from Max that we talked about last race where, you know, the gamesmanship on the formation lap was starting to break him. You know, this is what should have been a culmination in a fantastic race win for Oscar, probably a second for Max and a third for Lando. And instead, Lando's basically got it in the bag unless someone takes him out. Like, that's ultimately where he's at.
Yep, 12 and 16 points. So 12 to Max, 16 to Oscar. Really, what Oscar needs is basically what happened to him in the last race last year, where Max qualifies third and then Lando second and Piastri be on pole. And then when they go into turn one, Max takes out both Lando and himself. And then we can see an Australian champion. But that's a long shot. Otherwise, yeah, you're right. It's pretty much done and dusted, and you can pretty much guarantee that Lando's just going to troll around in third place and secure his championship. And look, unfortunately, if you look back at it, really Baku and the Brazil sprint were the two things that really undid Oscar.
Yeah.
And that's just it. So we could sit here and play in this could have happened or that, but ultimately he got bad form when we didn't need it, and now he's not going to, well, barring something extraordinary happening, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got to hand it to Max, despite not having the greatest car and still having challenges. He was up and down all weekend, but he just manages every time to extract what he needs to get the best result. And yeah, I mean, he made the comments earlier in that weekend of, if I was in the McLaren, this championship race would be over. And you just have no doubt in any way, shape or form that would have been the case. Both from his performance point of view, but also the fact that he wouldn't be taking this shit of fairness between drivers.
No, not fairness again, Damo.
Oh, we're back on the fairness. Everyone, it's all about fairness. But he just is outstanding and could possibly have what would be arguably his best year as a driver and not take out the championship.
Yeah, quite literally. I mean, look, even, and again, it's a what if, but that incident with George Russell, if that doesn't happen, he's closer. I mean, there's a couple of brain fade moments as well. So there's many points really that you could argue that Oscar and Max could be, but we're just in a position of Lando is in control, and he's in control at the right time of the year, and you have to applaud him a little bit, even if we do have some questions. We'll say questions because I have a question for you. Just one really is, how can a driver go from dominating primarily majority of the year to not knowing how to drive for 5 races apparently, but then realizing how to drive again last weekend? How does that happen?
Well, I can't find anything else other than to buy into the conspiracy theories because legitimately they just have to be screwing him with setup or with something on that car. Now, they haven't made major package changes or anything like that. So it's all going to be down to something to do with the engine modes, the setup of the car. There just is no explanation. And I would just love for McLaren or even Oscar or his engineer to come out and actually explain what the hell has gone on for this small period, which makes it look like they are favouring Lando, which makes it look like he's forgotten how to drive, which makes it look like that they're doing everything to stop him winning and to let Lando win. It's outstanding that, yes, Lando did do the right thing at the right time, and he has been performing really well for the part, not last one, but the past couple.
Yep.
But how does Oscar just drive faultlessly for a good portion of the year with momentum and fall apart? I don't know, mate. Nothing makes sense to me And so I have to buy into the favoritism and the setups and all that shit.
Yeah, the tinfoil hat thing is pretty difficult. I don't want to buy into it. I really don't, because I'd like to think that that's not the case. Give people benefit of the doubt. You're right. I want to hear from someone other than the two that we constantly hear from, which is Stella and Zak Brown, and hear what the team has to say in terms of, you know, why this isn't working out. Because there was a clear difference, and I can't remember which driver was saying this, or it might have even come from Peter Windsor, but there's a distinct difference in the way the cars are gripping up, or were gripping up, over the last 4 or 5 races. You know, because the back end of Piastri's car was never, ever, ever as gripped up as Lando's for whatever reason. And that makes it, you know, you're like, oh, you know, maybe the way he drives. And yeah, sure, you know, but when you factor in that Lando's the more aggressive driver in terms of input versus, you know, Oscar's the more smooth, you'd have to say that something's gone particularly wrong somewhere. So, yeah, I'd love to hear from maybe his race engineer or something, just in regards to what they were trying to do and why it didn't work, and why they find themselves in this position, which is, you know, not the position of where they should be, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, and that's where, like, for me, like, people like Peter Windsor, and he sometimes has Mark Slade on, who was the ex-Haas engineer. Like, even they don't really have answers. They're kind of piecing things together of what it should or likely is. But when very intelligent Formula One people can't piece together or can't understand, yeah, it's so difficult to be able to figure out what the hell is going on. Yeah,
it is. It's rough for pundits because, you know, we sit here and we can speculate all we like on what we think is going on, but ultimately it's just opinion based on other people's opinions of what's happening, because we really don't know. And when you have Andrea Stella saying, oh, he needs to change his driving style and this, that really gets, you know, your panties in a twist, so to speak, because ultimately, how does a driver that's been dominating majority of the year suddenly not know how to drive? Like, that never stacks up in your brain. And then let's just throw this in just quickly, is when you have the likes of Zak Brown beelining to Oscar in the pen where there's cameras on him and give him the worst awkward uncle hug you've ever witnessed in your life.
Yeah.
That says to me you've been sabotaging him.
I know. And, like, there's that famous saying that, like, never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. And, like, it just feels like that if it isn't malice, then it's utter stupidity in this, you know, papaya rules thing. Now, I think Lando's come out and said it, you know, like, oh, that's, you know, just rubbish. The media keep hyping that up. But, like, to clearly say, okay, I don't want to impact Lando, so because we don't want to double stack, despite having a bit of a gap and probably something that could have worked within, and basically locking in Oscar P1 and most likely Lando P3, because you don't want to impact one driver over the other. Like, it's you've made the decision in your inactivity, like by not making a decision or by saying, no, we're not going to do that. You've already made your decision. You've shown your hand. And yeah, that awkward hug was just it just stunk of either performance in front of the cameras, or okay, I think we maybe we went too far here. We really fucked you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I sent so Zach put up a post
Oh,
recently
yes.
on Instagram, and was sort of like trying to defend himself and defend the team and whatnot, and
Yep.
we know what people are saying. It's just not the truth. In the team, we know it's the truth. And so I rebutted against it a little bit. And I thought, no, I'm not going to let you off the hook here, Zachary. So I tagged him, and of course I got no reply. So that's not uncommon because, he looks down the end of his nose at everyone. So I said to him, by not making the decision to pit Oscar when you had priority, you made a decision on who you want to win this championship. By swapping positions in Monza, you made a decision on who you want to win this championship. Not pitting under safety car when it was the only option, not even up for debate, mate. Mm-hmm. You showed who you'd rather win this championship. You've made your choice, whether it's conscious or not.
100% agree.
You can't, if you don't make a decision, like, ultimately, I've never seen a race until last weekend where the lead driver doesn't get pit priority.
Yep.
So, fact. So, I think someone else said it. Why not get on the blower to Oscar and say, hey, Oscar, do you want to pit now? If not, we're pitting Lando. And Oscar would have said, pit me.
Yeah. Yep, he would have, and I think this is a lesson for Oscar, is that sometimes he's got a lot of trust in the McLaren machine behind him, and he wants them, and as a driver, you should expect your team to make the best call for you and for the team, right?
Yep.
But they're not doing that, and so he's going to have to become a bit more Carlos Sainz, driving that strategy outcome and saying, we want to pit, and you'll get two things from that. You'll force them to declare their hand.
Yep.
And they'll say, we're not going to do that because it's going to disadvantage Lando. And then you have your answer. Or the second outcome is that they are put into a lock where they have to follow what he said, because he goes, it's a safety car. We've got the runs to the end. I'm pitting, I'm boxing. And then they've got no choice but to do it. And I think that's, for a 2026 Oscar, is what he needs to think about.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately you put your trust in the team, but if the team stops delivering, you do have to start thinking. I mean, it's a selfish sport. You have to start thinking of yourself. So, if you're in that position, if you think at that given point this is the right thing to do, just yell over the screen, I'm boxing. If you're the second car, don't. I think that's fair. But I'm saying if you're in priority position and that happens again, and I mean, I'm sure it would have been discussed. Like, if you get a safety car from this lap onwards, box. Like that just should have been, when you got 25 laps maximum that you can do on tires, that should have just been a no fucking brainer.
Well, Hannah Schmidt said that from Red Bull. She said that was our strategy, that was the exact lap that the strategy opens up because of the limitations of the number of laps. If we get a safety car on this lap forward, we're boxing, because that gives us this one, and 25 laps later, we pit again, and then 25 laps later, it's the end of the race. We absolutely, there was no discussion that any safety car after that lap, you box. And how could they not? Well, we know how. I don't know.
We know how. I know. We discuss it and we debate it, but at the end of the day, it's just disappointing because we know what it actually means, and actions speak louder than words, and unless you're going to your driver in the fucking pen, you idiot. Like, what was it? I think you said before this that was it Illman? Kim Illman said that Mark Webber watched Zach walk, like, make a beeline for Oscar.
Yep, to give that hug, and as he returned, yes, he was giving him the steel eyes. He was very, very focused and very unimpressed with what was happening. So I can only imagine, like, some of those conversations that must be happening. That ultimately, I just want them to come out this weekend at the start of the weekend and say, whilst Oscar has mathematically the opportunity, we are focusing on Lando to win this championship. Just say it. Just screw over Oscar, even though he still has a chance. Just be honest, because like this bullshit that's going to happen, they might end up losing it, and I will celebrate so hard if Max wins. So hard. Like, it will be like Oscar winning. It'll be such a perfect outcome to say, hey, McLaren, stop screwing around with your drivers.
There must be one level of Oscar that's sitting there thinking, should I take Lando out? Like, take us both out? Like, and just allow Max to take the championship? Like, you'd have to have, I'm not saying that he's going to do it or he is having those thoughts. I probably shouldn't.
He would have those thoughts.
Yeah. But you'd have to have those thoughts of like, haha, if I do this would be the ultimate fuck you to the team. Don't fuck me over. Otherwise, I will ensure that you are fucked.
Yeah, he's definitely had those thoughts, because I mean, he left the McLaren, McLaren suite, knowing that they were disqualified, and he and Mark Webber had little smiles as they walked past the media right before they got DQ'd in the prior race. So there is no doubt that these sort of things happening would make Oscar happier, but I don't think he's the type of person to go and do it, of course. But yeah,
no.
Anyway,
he's definitely
not that
temperament. Yeah, we should probably move on, man.
We'll just cover off a few things, and the last sort of thing that sort of involves the whole Lando thing was the Antonelli mistake.
Yeah,
and by Lord, was Red Bull and their minions savage about that. Like, why just lost the plot before ever knowing that, like, what actually happened. They were just accusing him of giving it up.
What's with Red Bull and their followers being such pricks? Because we've literally had two situations where
supercars,
F1, people who follow Red Bull must be just an inferior species of human. Because the absolute filth of sending Antonelli death threats and shit like that. Get your shit together, man. Get your shit together. The kid's 19. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, already having to deal with, I've just made a mistake that cost me this position in the Grand Prix to now make me, get past. Like, just that feeling that you must have had already. Oh my, I can't believe I've thrown this position away. And then, you get this barrage of, and we'll call them, idiots. I don't think it's
definitely. It's not just Red Bull fans, but it's just it's funny that the crossover between this two is the fact that both those teams are involved. And
well, you've got Colapinto people too that have been very, very bad. Over the year.
Yeah, there is that too.
Yeah.
But like, just in general, guys, like, we love our sport. Yes, we back our players or our drivers, but death threats and harmfuls and all that, it's just not on. It's just not on.
Yeah, please just think about it. Like, would you send this message to your, I don't know, family member, your kids, or your best friend? Like, just do better. We've said that before.
We have said that a lot before, but
and speaking of do better, Ferrari.
I don't follow them anymore.
No.
I'm off.
Oh my goodness.
They've ruined it. They've screwed Leclerc. They've screwed Hamilton. And I just, like, honest to God, they are quite possibly the embarrassment of Formula One.
It's such a tragic, tragic outcome. that they could make so many mistakes for their drivers.
Just
Oh,
build a car,
yeah.
mate. Like you've got so much more money than the majority of them, and here you are battling freaking at the back. Like honestly, you're going to get outdone by Audi and Cadillac next year. It's ridiculous. Like
I agree. Like, it's very real that they could get outdone by one of these mid-tier teams, a team that should be, first if not second, right? And they're struggling to hold on to third and fourth at the moment.
I am an out and out Ferrari fan, and yet
Mm.
I am struggling to understand what's going on there. Like I'm struggling with the McLaren thing, but I really want to grab Fred and the rest of the crew and even learn Italian so I can scream at them because they honestly need you need to freaking pick up your act. Like, in what world is any of the results that you've had recently satisfactory?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And looking at it, they've definitely, I think they've all but just secured fourth. So Williams are back. What's that? 150 points, but they're definitely too far behind Red Bull to get third. So, yeah.
Speaking of good news stories, how good is that
Yes.
of Williams? Fifth in the constructors secured, and Carlos Sainz securing it with another
podium.
He has killed Albon. Like I haven't heard anyone talk about Albon for over half a year, and that's disappointing because I like Albon, but Sainz has absolutely cleaned him up in this second part of the year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, it was kind of what I think you were the same, but like kind of what I predicted. Like we rated Saints as having quite a strong. He was going to end up performing, and he took some time, but he has really just risen to the top there. And I mean, get another podium. Sitting in interviews, smirking when they're asking Hamilton about whether he regrets going to Ferrari or what he felt about the year or something along those lines, and he's just like, and you're in a Williams, and you're laughing about it, Wow, what a year for Williams, and what a year for Saints. And Albon's had some mixed results, but he certainly has fallen away a little bit more recently. He's made some mistakes, and it's a bit disappointing. But
it's what happens when
a bit of pressure.
Yeah, exactly. It's what happens when pressure comes in, and Carlos started performing. I mean, Carlos isn't one to bring you down either. He's definitely he'll support Albon to the hilt to try and get back up to his level, which I think is good. But yeah, Alex just probably needs to relax a bit again and just drive the car without too much drama. But so good to see Williams back in the mid, like the upper echelon of the mid pack. And I look forward to seeing what they can do next year as well, because maybe they can make another jump over Ferrari.
Maybe. And I guess the big surprise was just we sort of view Racing Bulls as having such a great year, because we've seen Isaac up there for a lot of it. But still, they've outperformed them. So, that's been sensational. Whilst we're on the kind of Red Bull family, the Racing Bulls, just a few announcements that they've made recently. And, the unluckiest of those 5 drivers is Yuki, who is out and gone from the Red Bull family. Yeah.
How harsh is that?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you thought the Liam Lawson thing was harsh? At least he's still got a seat.
Well, isn't it funny that you'd say he was lucky to get demoted to a car that gave him the opportunity, because he was basically saved by a better car, right? Because he was able to, took him a little while to get his head right, but ultimately Yuki moved there, and that second seat has been cursed for so long. And yeah, you're basically okay. We're not going to change anything because we think we changed Liam too soon, but you have to live with your results, and it just has not worked out at all. And they just savage. That's the way that team works.
Yeah, I think a better representation would have been if Liam was allowed to run until the middle of the year and then swap over with Yuki, and then they would have had a really good set of data against both drivers to really make an informed decision. But I mean, we understand why the decision was made. It was a bit hasty though, and now like Liam must be just somewhat snickering. Like you must be just be sitting there going, "Oh, I'm glad it went the way it did."
yeah. Because it took him, months to kind of get through the fact that he had been demoted and dealing with that. But as I say, that's ultimately the thing that's probably saved him. So, Isaac Hadjar.
Yeah, I know.
Let's just hope 2026 gives the opportunity for them to fix that second car, because nothing would be more tragic, and it could be the end of the way the media and everyone else approach that second seat of Red Bull if they can't get this right, if they have Isaac struggling in that second car, because that would just be so tragic, mate.
If they boot Dear Red Bull, if you fuck Isaac Hadjar, I'm coming for you.
Oh,
honestly, that kid deserves nothing else but a really red hot go. And if you deliver him a piece of shit of a car and he can't get a hold of it, I'm blaming you. I'm not blaming anyone else.
Nope. I saw a great post from the reserve drivers, and it had Lewis Hamilton's dad hugging Isaac from Melbourne, but then the actual title of the of it was he consoles Isaac on being promoted to Red Bull. And that's the I guess that's the pun, that's the joke, that it's not necessarily it'd be so hard for Isaac because you want to be in that lead team, right? Because potentially that team is the one that's going to give you the best shot.
Yeah.
But that second seat, that second car, however they've got that car, fingers crossed they fix it for 2026 for him.
Well, it's an all new car, so realistically it should be more balanced to begin with, and then they'll start tinkering from there. But yeah, they need to change the way they're developing the car, because otherwise they're never going to get constructors ever again. So yeah, let's hope that for Isaac's sake, they develop it in such a way that it's second car friendly, but still fast.
Yeah, and that obviously leads us to the arrival in that Racing Bulls, or whatever they're called next year. I don't know if they'll keep the same name or not, but Arvid Lindblad is now taking that seat. The youngster in the up-and-coming, been through the junior formulas, has been on the bubble for a little bit, ready to jump in, and he's been given the nod. So, yeah, another rookie in F1.
Another rookie. Yes, no, it'll be good to see how he goes. I don't think he's had the best run of late in terms of his own performances. So it will be interesting to see how he goes once he gets into a Formula One car. But ultimately, I think it's going to be. No, I'm not sure. Actually, I'll hold off because I thought Bortoletto was going to be a disaster, and he turned out to be quite a good. Yeah,
we had concerns with all of the rookies.
We did,
and one of the biggest jokes from the weekend was seeing, I think it was Karoon, but they all agreed that Sky broadcast in one of the practice sessions talking about how Kimi Antonelli was the second best rookie for the year, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" in one of the best cars, you're going to just walk over Bortoletto. Obviously, Isaac is their choice for first, but I mean, even Behrman has argued. I mean, he's beaten Ocon convincingly, right?
Yep. The
The
measurement should be
rookies,
against the teammate.
yeah, and I was staggered by that. But in any case, all the rookies this year have been really outstanding, and so it's been one of those years that has really surprised in us all in how well they've gone, but sets a big benchmark for people like Aravid to come in. So,
no, absolutely agree with that. No, yeah, congrats to all the rookies this year. I think they've done a stellar job. So, except for Colapinto.
yeah,
But,
even not even he's had like a full rookie year, but yeah, he's definitely the worst. I know we're biased being Aussies, but Jack didn't even have a real fair crack. Was just starting to get good, and they
axed him.
Yep. So just a big shame on that front. But in any case, we've got another rookie, Red Bull making the changes. Let's hope it lasts more than 2 rounds into 2026.
Exactly.
And with the final round this weekend at Abu Dhabi, we possibly could have another fire, another fire lit, as the young kids say, round, because just imagine what could happen if Lando gets taken out. Just imagine.
Oh, please.
Yes.
What? Sorry, did I say that out
loud? That's our only hope. But other than that, Lando should be able to secure it. But let's hope there's some action.
Let's just finish by saying, if Lando wins, congratulations to Lando. Yes. We don't actually have anything against Lando. It's all to do with the team. So if he manages to get the win, well done. But if he gets taken out, I'm not going to cry.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be disappointed if he doesn't win. But I am really grateful for Lando for the last probably four races, not for the last, but prior to that, where he's actually at least shown that he's really wanted it, has driven to a high level.
Yes.
Because prior to that, there was no chance in hell where I still felt like he kind of deserved to win. So I'm just really happy that he mentally made that change and started delivering to kind of get where he is now. So let's see how we go. Maybe an upset, but most likely Lando to win, and we'll celebrate his win next week if that's the case.
That's it. But let's go, Oscar!
Come on, Oscar. Last chance to really stick it to McLaren and do something funky.
All right, mate. Thank you.
We'll see you in the next one. Bye.